Shut up and sit down.
All right, welcome back to On The Sidelines. Got a special guest with me today, Chase Kratzenberg. Thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, Brian, thanks a lot for having me. I'm a big fan of what you're doing right now, and I was eager to get on, so I appreciate being here.
Much appreciated, man. I know you reached out to me, and I do appreciate all the support. And definitely wanted to get your opinion on here and get your opinion on this, just because I know you are currently at Ironton High School coaching.
Sure.
Right
Yes.
Yeah.
Been there I was there for a while, left and came back, so this would be my second year back. Coming up on, yeah.
And I'm sure you enjoy. I mean, that's something I've always wanted to do. I've coached 4-year-olds before, but
that's tough. That's really tough.
But that's got to be pretty rewarding. Coaching. I mean, just young men, young boys into kind of almost into adulthood there.
It's really cool because whenever I first started coaching at Ironton, I had 7th graders and the 8th graders at the time just now graduated high school. So it was really cool to see them grow up as men. Go from complete adolescence to the end of adolescence, and then graduate high school. Getting their graduation cards and things like that, and being able to send them a little bit of money and write them a letter and let them know that we're thinking of them. We're always there for them.
Yeah,
it's really rewarding in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, man, and that's that has to be. I think that's a great word. That has to be pretty rewarding for you, just on a daily basis.
Absolutely, you have to think about it that way too. I mean, professionally, I teach and I coach. We all know that teachers and coaches don't make a ton of money. We're not out there doing it for the money. The money we appreciate, but at the same time, what I appreciate the most is really seeing kids learn, seeing kids grow,
Agreed.
and seeing young men become grown men, and then also becoming great brothers in the future, great fathers, great husbands. That's what we do it for. So.
That's so awesome too, because I feel like if anybody says I feel like if anybody looks up coach or life mentor or just great teacher in the dictionary, your face pops up there. So
hey, man, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. I couldn't think of anybody better really for the position you're in.
Absolutely.
And what you're doing.
Absolutely.
For that.
Thank you.
So I kind of want to get into. I'm very interested to hear. Oh, by the way, disclaimer: we are outside. Figured it's a beautiful day.
It's a nice day. Yeah. By the way, it's really nice out here.
Yeah, nice day. So if you hear birds chirping in the background, kids.
That's what we were aiming for.
Yeah, we're going for that aesthetic there. So in the background, I wanted to get your opinion because on this, and I'm sure you have an opinion on this particular subject. What do you think about participation trophies in sports?
Okay,
so youth sports in particular. I guess.
Youth sports. Okay, participation trophies. I feel like I have an opinion. But I have multiple opinions because I feel like you have to see this from different perspectives.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to talk from the perspective as dad right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have 2 young boys. I have Tyus and Talon. Tyus is a little over 2 years old, and Talon is a little over 1 year old.
Right.
Obviously, they're not involved in sports right now.
Yeah.
However, when they get involved in sports, I will be teaching and coaching them up to win.
To win.
I want them to understand that in life there are winners and losers.
Yes.
And you can take that professionally as well.
Yep.
If I'm going into a job interview and 10 people are interviewing for this job, okay, and let's say that I don't get the job, all right, am I going to be happy if they come out with a participation trophy and say, well, thanks for trying, Chase? You know what I mean? Am I going to take that home to my wife and say, you know what, this is going to put the bacon on the table tonight?
Yeah.
Let's go cash this trophy in.
Frame this up. Yeah.
Right, that makes me look good.
Yeah.
So from a father's perspective, I'm going to be teaching my kids straight up, we do this to win. My grandpa and my dad always said, hey, if it's worth doing or worth practicing, it's definitely worth winning.
Agreed.
So I thought that from day one. However, if you look at it from different perspectives, okay, I'm going to look at it from a teacher's perspective, okay? Yep. I see kids in class each and every single day that do not have the same abilities as other kids.
And you mean in the educational classroom
in
setting?
The educational realm.
Okay.
Some kids walk in, I'm telling you this right now, it's August, I can say that kid right there in March, we're talking about 8 month difference. That kid right there is going to pass the state test no matter what I teach them or say to them, right?
Right, exactly.
Sometimes when I'm coaching too, I know that kid's walking in, that kid's a really good basketball player, really good football player. He's going to be a winner in life because he has God-given natural ability. I don't want to take away from the other kids that put 100% effort in all the time,
exactly,
but still may not reach what that particular person reaches.
Yeah.
So from a coach's and a teacher's perspective, I feel like participation trophies can be used and can be relevant.
I agree. In an educational setting, I guess is what you're saying.
Sure.
Yeah. Definitely in an educational setting, because I think that's different for self-esteem. Definitely for adolescence and on into high school and adulthood.
Right.
You really shouldn't be put down for anything to do with like education. So participation, rewards, or acknowledgement in that field. I definitely hear you there. For sure.
So let's cut it up into sports. Let's just say, okay, you and I are coaching youth league football, which I coached youth league football for a few years.
Right.
And the participation trophy conversation can be talked about at a youth league level, I think. Okay?
Yeah.
Here's my recommendation to youth leagues. You need to develop a sports recognition program rather than participation trophies.
Yeah.
Okay? First place, second place, third place, in my opinion, need to be given at every level.
At every level.
Kids need to understand there are winners and there are losers, as I said before. Okay, there are better teams, there are better players. It's a fact of life. Get used to it.
Not everyone's an MVP.
Thank you. Absolutely. But a kid that shows up and puts his heart into it, okay, gives 100% effort at all times, right?
Yeah.
Knows that tired is no excuse. Shows it to every practice. Shows it to every game.
Yeah.
Is very coachable. Does what you tell him to do. Even if he does not become a champion, even if he is not the best player on the team, is not on the winning team, as
he
in
should
first
still
place
be
or third,
recognized.
That kid needs to be recognized.
Yeah, I agree.
I was reading a stat the other day, which I come across these all the time.
Yeah.
It's like 35 million kids participate in youth leagues in the United States of America.
I can see that. Yeah.
By the time those 35 million kids turn age 13, 70% stop.
Yeah, and that I guess that is probably a combination of things. My guess would be, and this is a guess, but my guess would be that that's when that 70% hits the age 13, like you said, there's the competition gets higher.
Sure.
The prerequisites that it takes to make a JV varsity level team definitely are more stringent.
Absolutely, I agree.
I think that's where you see some of it, but it's also to do, which I don't know if this is where you're leading, but also with like self-esteem.
Sure.
I'm sure that's a big part of it.
Sure.
Too.
So I'm thinking from the perspective of a coach, and how am I going to reinforce these kids to continue to play this sport and continue to be the best that they can be.
Yeah.
I think some type of sports recognition program or even a participation trophy could help a kid that says, I gave my all this year, but I wasn't a champion. I didn't get first, second, or third place.
Right.
I was not the best player on the team, but I was the best version of myself that I could be.
Exactly.
That participation trophy could help that kid and can motivate that kid to be a better player and to even play the next year.
Yeah.
So all these kids that are dropping out, maybe a participation trophy would keep particular kids out. Because a big problem that we have now, especially in high school and middle school, we're losing kids.
Right. Yeah.
Now we come from a small area.
Yeah. So we never really had, like, I know, we come from, like you said, a small area. I know at Chesapeake, it's not like, I guess we technically had tryouts, I guess, but it wasn't. If you showed up and got through conditioning, you're on the squad.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, you're going to make it through. Even if you don't make it through the conditioning program, you're probably going to be on the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I've noticed in this area, not as much boys, but definitely girls. There's a lot of high school girls games now, like varsity basketball contests, where the varsity games are only being played. The JV games are getting cut down to 2 quarters, or they're being eliminated, period, because there's not enough girls
on the girls' side of it.
Absolutely, yeah. I've seen that. I've seen that firsthand. So,
I think that's not to interrupt you. I think that's systemic up to really in girls' sports all the way up to like the WNBA, because you start seeing. One, the participation, but two, you're looking at TV watch numbers, things like that for the WNBA have been steadily declining.
Right.
I'd love to see that number go up.
Absolutely.
And I think the quality of play has definitely increased over the years in the WNBA. I definitely think so. I
have conversations about this all the time with my wife. Even Jalen was a Division I basketball player. She's very passionate about the game of basketball. So we have talks about this all the time. But even when you connect it to the boys' side, when I was in high school, we had a freshman team. When I was a freshman, we had a freshman team that had 12 kids on the freshman team in basketball.
Same thing. Yep.
Then we had a JV team, obviously, and a varsity team that was filled up completely, 1 through 12 on every level. Yep. Now you're lucky to find a freshman team in this area.
Oh yeah, yep.
So when you connect it back to the participation trophy question, if my kids come home and say, Tyus rolls in whenever he's 8 or 9 years old and said, Dad, and asked me to be proud of him for getting a participation trophy.
Right.
I might pull out the James Harrison. You know what I mean? I might take that thing. I might throw it out back. I might burn it. I don't know. Like we aim to be the best. That's what we want to be. That's what we stand for. However, when I'm a coach and I'm looking at not just my kids. I'm looking at 10 kids, and I want
Yeah.
to bring those 10 kids back.
And that 10th kid just killed himself
Right.
like all season, and then he
Right.
doesn't get any recognition.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah. I
And
see what you're saying.
people fail to see. I see that all the time. I
Yeah.
really do. I see a kid bust his hump
Yeah.
constantly, knowing that at best he's going to be the sixth man. At
Right.
best.
At best.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And we all know that.
Yeah.
But it's just a pleasure having.
So I think,
Pleasure.
like, you know, when you bring up the 6-man thing, I think that should be more in youth sports, in high school varsity sports, and really on into college. I'm sure they do it in college, but on the bigger programs. But they need to have, I guess, my thing would be not participation trophies so much, but as far as recognition awards.
Yeah, exactly.
As far as, like, you know, 6th man of the year,
Thank you.
most improved player,
Perfect.
you know, the highest 3-point percentage in the league that year, the most rebounds in the league that. I mean, yeah, I think individual statistics do need recognized,
Absolutely.
and things like that. As far as participation trophies for just showing up to an event, I mean, I don't have a problem with that, especially in youth, real young sports.
Sure.
My problem is there still should be, I mean, even in 5-year-old, 6-year-old basketball, everyone should get a trophy, but the first place team should probably get a bigger trophy.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm with
Yeah,
that too.
yeah,
I'm with that. Bigger
yeah.
and better for the best players and the
Yeah,
best teams. That's the way it
exactly.
should roll.
I agree.
Now,
I agree.
specifically, I want to give one example, one
Yeah.
little story.
Yeah.
And we can finalize this, so you can move however you want to do.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking back to whenever I was a young player on a youth league football team, and I recall a kid. I still know. I'm not going to say his name.
Yeah.
You probably know him too, but I'm
Yeah.
not going to say his name.
All right.
I think we were on like E team or D team or something. We played in the Turf Bowl.
Right.
Well, he had quit throughout the year, right? I think he quit, and he came back, and the coaches were like, "Oh, okay, cool, we'll let you back, whatever." Trying to do the right thing.
Right,
You know what
I
mean?
get what you're saying.
Okay, so then he quit again, right?
Yeah.
He didn't show up for like 2 weeks, and we played in the Turf Bowl. He rolled into Jones C. Edwards Stadium down here at Marshall University, ready to play in the Turf Bowl, right?
But
like,
no, didn't practice up
right.
until that point.
Like,
didn't-
so
wasn't with
technically
his
he can
teammates.
say, well, I finished the season, I came to the last game. He should not get a participation trophy.
No, I
Straight
agree.
up.
I agree, because then that just teaches that anything that he in life. I mean, when he goes to get a job, which I don't know who you're talking about. I'm sure that he's not still the same way. I
Sure,
don't
absolutely,
know.
he's
but, but you know, certain kids would take that, grow up with that mentality, and
Right.
be like, well, I mean, I can quit and then come back. And we see it every day, really, in the workforce and things like that.
You do. You do.
Just like entitlement, I guess would be
Right.
the main word for that. But
By no means do I feel like you should get rewarded at all for giving 50% effort.
exactly.
You get what you put in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You make your bed, you lay in it, and if you make a 50% bed, so to speak, that's what you get in return, man.
Yeah,
It's part
much
of life.
agreed, man. Yeah, and like I said, I think that ties back into kids need recognition for the work that they put in, not just because you weren't first place, then you get nothing.
Sure.
I'm not that extreme about
Sure.
it. I don't know if I'm on the hardened level with it, but
Yeah.
I think like we talked about earlier, 6-man trophies. Maybe all league teams or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there should be more of a, I guess, focus
Yeah.
on that in youth sports.
We actually had an 8th grade coach this year at Ironton. His name is John Large. Shout out John. He is one of the best guys that I know, period. Just like as an individual, he's a really good guy.
Right.
They just had an 8th grade banquet. The 8th grade team was really good this year. I'm pretty sure they went undefeated with the exception of one game. When I say undefeated, it was in conference play. I think they lost one game out of the conference.
Yeah.
But he had an award for literally every player that came to the banquet, and it was like
See,
kind of
that's
what you
cool.
said, like
Yeah.
6-man award.
Pulling some like the Dundies on The Office.
Absolutely, yeah, you got that's good stuff
Yeah.
right there. Yeah. But he had fantastic awards. He had plaques made.
Yeah.
Like best 3-point shooter. But he would name it something like the Steph Curry Award.
Right,
Do you know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah. That's cool, man.
The Hustle Award. Most coachable award. You know what I mean? And then he would have like one or two fun ones in there. Like
Yeah.
best hair award, like just to throw somebody
Right,
and
right.
to get a laugh out of the parents. Like
Yeah.
I think things like that are really cool. Obviously coaches are different, and some will do that and some won't.
Some won't,
But that's
yeah.
like in my opinion a great example of how you really keep a program going.
Right.
You keep kids interested.
Yeah.
Right? And you can still reward them for what they put in.
Yeah, and if that could happen, I mean that's a great point. And if that could happen on the not only like you're saying on every team level and every program level, that could just happen on the league level
Sure.
as well. Whatever league or
Sure.
whatever it is, whatever area it is, if that could be administered on every just that mindset, that would be great.
I think so too.
Kind of leads into another thing I wanted to talk to you about: parents' involvement. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you're. I don't know if you've had any ever negative experience with parents or anything.
Yeah, never, ever.
Yeah,
Not
but,
one.
Yeah, but how do you feel about parents' involvement in sports, in particular, their involvement with their team or trying to take over, like.
Okay.
undercut the coach or whatever the case may be, or even the positives of it. It doesn't have to be all negative.
And throughout my point here, you absolutely welcome to chime in anytime, because I think that we're going to get a better conversation with two heads on this one.
Right.
Because the fact of the matter on this one is, too, you got to see it from multiple perspectives. Excuse me. You cannot run a youth league program without parents, straight up.
Yeah, there wouldn't be. Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So you have to find a way to work with parents to make the youth league a much better place.
I agree.
A much better place to play in as well. I mean, if you look around the youth leagues in this area, basketball, football, whatever it may be, you have parents running concession stands.
Right.
One parent may be the president of the board. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One parent may be the treasurer.
Yeah.
One parent may be officiating basketball games.
So
Who
parents
knows?
are. I mean, I agree with you in that. Parents are needed in that. In those aspects to keep youth leagues running.
Sure.
Their volunteer time.
They're necessary. Do you know what I mean? And listen,
agreed.
the fact of the matter is, parents are going to be more invested whenever their kids are involved.
Exactly.
I mean, they
well,
want to make.
I'm the same way.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it is.
not to come up, but I'm the same way.
No, it's the fact of the
You know,
matter. Yeah. I mean, like, the reason I got involved in coaching was because of my brother. That was the biggest reason. I started coaching whenever we went to. You were going to Shawnee right out of high school.
Yep.
I started coaching literally that fall. It was like 3 months after we graduated high school.
Right.
And a big reason why was my brother. Now, obviously, I'm not a parent.
Yeah.
But I had emotional ties to him,
And that's why you wanted to be with him on the side.
That's exactly right. I
Yeah.
literally drove from Portsmouth, Ohio to South Point every single day for practice and games.
To help his development, to help his. I mean, you can see that in him too. I mean,
Right.
You know, just
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, parents' involvement in youth sports, are they necessary? Absolutely, but it can be very detrimental to the kids.
I think it's a thin line when you have the it's a thin line from the parent that's volunteering their free time to help the concession stand, to help the league go,
Sure.
compared to the
I know where you're going.
the dad who's
Say it. Yes.
sitting up in the stands like, get my son in there.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
Parents do not need.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the parents right now, and
Yeah.
I'm going to say this to you, parents. I mean, you're. Do not. Here's it. Do not live through your kids.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
not live through them.
Yeah.
Coach them, teach
Help
them,
them.
encourage them.
Yeah.
Be their father, be their mother. Do not live through
Your
them.
sports
At
glory
all.
through
Yes.
them. Your past glory.
Here's the fact of the matter.
Yeah.
Okay, I know all the stats. All right, I coach high school basketball. I assist in sending kids to college, so I see the statistics. Okay,
Right.
We're talking 2% of all high school athletes in the entire country play Division I sports.
Which is and I don't think a lot of parents realize that statistic.
2%.
Yeah.
I'm talking Division I. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, it's wider for other schools.
Yeah.
But I'm talking
D2,
to the parents.
NIAI.
But I'm talking to the parents that are like trying to live through their kids thinking they're going to Duke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
2% of these kids go, and then half of that play professional, and then cut that into half. Right, half of that make the professional leagues, and then half of that. So I'm talking about a half of 1% actually start for professional sports teams.
Yeah.
Okay. So parents.
Now,
don't live through your kids.
are you talking? I don't know if are you talking NBA? Or are you talking like Euro League too? Are you talking overseas pro ball? Or are we talking NBA?
I'm talking American professional
Yeah,
leagues.
I gotcha.
Right. So obviously there's other outlets.
There's other but
Yes,
still,
you can do
it's
it.
even if no matter how far you branch out, because basketball is
Yeah.
all over the world. But no matter how far you branch out, it's a very small percentage.
It's a
of,
thin line.
Yeah,
You know what
of
I mean?
kids that
Yeah.
go pro in
Right.
anything.
Now, the fact is like, as a parent, myself, I'm
Yeah.
going to push my kids to be the best they can be, knowing that they may not reach that level. And everybody
Right.
needs to have that understanding.
Yes.
Like, push your kids, but also, here's what you need to do, as a parent, in my opinion, okay? You need to provide and promote a conducive environment for kids to learn and succeed in youth sports.
And
okay?
and creating option. I agree. That's a great point, because creating an option for them to succeed, like you said, but open up the doors for them, so they can make the choice in their
Thank
own
you.
door.
Yes.
You know, not that you're like because I'd love to see Duke and Grant grow up to play. Basketball and football and be like that.
Yeah,
but
who
man,
wouldn't?
But I mean, here's the thing: if Grant's thing is track or even whatever it is, I don't care,
Right.
figure skating, whatever. Dude.
Sure.
But I want him, whatever he picks and whatever they pick, they need to put their all into.
Sure, that's
they need
exactly
to
right.
put 100% into.
I agree with that, and I think that parents that are in the stands really need to stay out of the coach's way. We're
Agreed.
kind of in a big mode right now. Like, if we talk about basketball, for instance, we'll just talk about that. And then I want to spin it one time and talk about the cheerleading moms if we have time for that. I have
Yeah,
to.
you know
I'm
we
snapping
do.
my fingers
Those are
because I'm getting really
worse.
anxious. Oh my goodness, I can tell you story after story after story.
those
I'm
are-
like, I dread it now.
They're
But
like drill sergeants.
oh,
They're
it's
worse than
ridiculous.
that.
Yeah, it seems like fake to me. And we'll get there in a second. But like, so I just feel like parents, like, whenever I'm a parent, I'm going to take the advice of Frank Martin. Frank Martin right now is the head basketball coach at South Carolina.
Yeah,
he's a really good
He used
coach.
to be at Kansas State. Didn't
Yeah, he was at Kansas State. He's really like he'll get like
Yeah.
he'll rip you.
We played for coaches of the same cloth.
Oh,
You know what I'm
absolutely,
saying?
yeah. And
like,
I've coached under a coach that was the same
Right,
way. Yeah,
right.
real tough, real disciplined. Those are the best coaches in my opinion.
Yeah, me too.
But
Yeah,
from
I
a
agree.
parent perspective, you need to stay out of the way.
Yeah.
Frank Martin is a Division I men's college basketball coach, and he was in a news conference where he just said, "I stay out of my
Yes.
8-year-old basketball coach's way.
Yeah.
I tell my kid to listen to that coach and learn from that coach.
Not listen to, like, I'll give you advice and stuff, but don't don't undercut your coach coming to me just because I'm
Yeah,
a
don't
coach
come to
or
me
whatever.
complaining because you played 4 minutes in this game. Okay,
Yeah.
how can we make you better? Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to go home and develop your game, so
Yeah.
then you can come back.
We're going to go put up 1,000 shots. And we're going to put, that's what I'm saying.
That's
So,
exactly it. And we're going to make an influence on your team and
Yeah.
your coach in different ways.
Yeah, and work towards that. Don't come to me just because you think I can go to your coach and be like, hey, he needs to play, and then your coach is going to feel bad and give you a couple extra minutes or whatever.
Exactly.
So that's not even worth it. You need to just go in there. You need to earn your spot, take that spot from someone else, and work every day at it and get better and prove yourself. So,
I agree. Show heart, show determination, a little bit of perseverance, and go get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so overall, I mean, my thoughts on parent involvement in youth sports is they're necessary. They got to get involved. There's a lot of fundraising that goes into things, and they got to have some time to fundraise, to make some money, things like that. Youth league sports and programs need support from parents. Just emotional support, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then sometimes physical support. You're transferring things in and out of a gymnasium or setting up for a Saturday football game or whatever it may be. So they're necessary. But parents, don't look through your kids. That's my opinion. Stay out of the
Agreed.
coach's way.
Please.
Be a positive influence on your kids rather than a negative one.
Yeah.
If you have any type of beef, so to speak, I don't think that I would talk about it in front of the kids.
Yeah.
I think I would go directly to the coach. And every time something doesn't go your way, don't moan, groan, and complain about it. And don't take your kid and transfer him immediately or take him to some other AAU program just because you didn't get an extra minute of playing time.
That mentality just flows downhill.
It's entitlement
to the kids. I mean, when they see their parent being able to really just whine and complain and get what they want, and then they're like, "Well, shit, man, why can't I do that?"
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Listen, I'm teaching 8th graders right now. They come
Yeah.
in. I talked to them about the game the night before,
Right.
and they're talking about how bad it went. It was just a bad night, off game.
Yeah.
And I ask them, I'm like, well, what happened? Like, what's going on? You shoot bad. You guys just not up to par. Was that team better than you? And the first thing that comes out of their mouth was, this happened on multiple occasions. Oh, the coach ran bad plays. Our plays suck. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you know what? Like, maybe these kids did develop that opinion at some point, but that probably came from their parents.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe they did think, but at some point, there's no way. I don't think there's a way that a kid developed, like, knows enough about, I don't know, whatever. We're talking about the open system in basketball. You're running it on offense, running open.
Sure.
You know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
We both did it. There's no way when a kid sees that he's in that and really, I mean, knowing that system and being like, me coming home and being like, develop that on myself and be like, well, this is a terrible offense. We need to run this offense.
Sure.
No, I'm more likely to hear it from an older person, parent, whatever, influence
sucks.
like that.
That coach
That's
don't know
a
what he's
terrible play.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, yeah.
Why'd they
you're
run
right.
that at that point of the game?
That
Blah,
has
blah,
to be
blah.
right. Yeah.
Sure.
And it just creates that, like you said, that entitlement mentality. And I think as a society, kind of, going back to the participation trophies, parents' involvement, I think we've become soft. We've become real soft. Yeah, like doughy.
Like Pillsbury dough, like ultra dough.
Yeah,
I would agree, and I don't have a lot to add to that. Whenever you call it like you see it. If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and walks like a duck, it's a duck. And I have another metaphor that I could say, but I'm not going to say it on air. The fact of the matter is, if it looks like it, smells like it, and tastes like it, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
So the fact of the matter is, I just feel like there has to be a balance.
Right.
You know what I mean? Parents, do your job. Allow coaches to do their job. Allow officials to do their job.
Exactly.
I see more from a referee's perspective because I referee on the side as well.
Right.
I see it, hear it, smell it all the time, so to speak. I mean, I really do. I had a guy, this was a few years back, I was thinking about this a couple of days ago. This was probably like the moment in my life where I thought, oh my gosh, my life is going to end. But I was
you
refereeing.
made a bad call.
Oh my gosh, I was refereeing a high school basketball game, but it was an AAU game. But it was like two high school teams essentially that hated each other playing against each other.
Right.
So it's already hostile, right?
Yeah.
And it was like my 10th game of the day, and I'm like dragging. And there's this like 6'6", 285-pound guy in the front row, and he's like yelling obscenities to the people that are on the floor.
Gosh.
So parents, don't do that. That's my recommendation to you.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy. I had to stop it at one point and say, well, just like turn around and talk to him like straight up, and like I'm dragging. Like I said, I've done 10 straight games. It's like 8 o'clock at night. I'm ready to go home.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, if you don't care, can you just not say the F word?
Yeah.
Just don't say the F word. And then he approaches me on the floor. He's like coming after me. I'm thinking, man, I'm 5'9", 150 soaking wet. I'm not afraid of you, I promise. But I know this is not going to end well for me.
It's not going to be good. I'm going to get some shots in, but it's not going to.
I'm coming after you, but I might be asleep in 30 seconds. I mean, so you just don't want to be that parent. You don't want to be that parent at all. But I see it from that perspective too. I've seen it from a coach's perspective. I've seen it from not a parent's perspective yet because my kids aren't old enough to play.
Right.
But I've seen it all. I've played AAU and I've seen a lot of parents be that way. I played every high school sport there was. I've seen crazy parents just go off the handle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just absolutely ruin an experience for a coach. And I've been a head football coach.
Yeah.
And I've had parents completely just ruin my day, ruin my week. And it's something that you shouldn't have to handle because you're making it worse on the program itself, because now instead of the coach actually focusing on the sport that he's coaching and your kid,
he's got to worry about,
he's not concerned about you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's all negative. It's all negative. It's all about positive reinforcement. That's it.
Yeah. And that's a great point too, because, you again, kind of going to like it rolls downhill. A kid sees that in 8th grade, and by the time he's a sophomore or junior in high school, he's going to be a hothead. He's not going to be able to take direction.
Absolutely.
He's not going to be able to, or she, whatever.
Yeah,
she
whatever.
Or he,
either way.
yeah.
Either way.
But not going to be able to take direction or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
It hinders them. It hinders.
I think so
it
too.
hinders their growth.
Mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Yeah.
And as a coach, you want players that are going to be coachable. Like I'm taking, if you tell me I can have 5 studs, but they're not coachable, or I could have 5 average players and they're all coachable, more times than not, I promise you, I'm taking the 5 kids that are coachable, because they're going to listen, they're going to aim to improve, and they're going to try to be the best versions of themselves that they can be, like we talked earlier.
Yeah.
And that's what. And I don't have any baggage from their parents, probably.
Coming through there. Yeah.
They support, and that's what you need. You need an environment that is conducive, like I said, or an atmosphere that's conducive to just positive reinforcement and success, and in your own particular way. That's it.
Agreed, man. Now I don't want to forget. I know we mentioned it. We were going to circle back.
I know where we're going.
What's your problem with the cheerleading
Listen,
moms?
cheerleading moms, I'm talking to you again, just like I was talking to the other parents. Just stop. Just stop. You know what I mean?
It gets a little much, guys.
Just quit. I mean, here's the deal. Okay, I think cheerleading is absolutely awesome.
Yeah,
I really
great.
do. I need to say,
it's an athletic sport. Like
no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And here's how. I mean, like there was a time in my life I was probably 16 or 17. I'm like, man, you guys cheer. Like, get out of my face. Like, you're not doing anything special.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, they are. Here's what really hits me.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a sister-in-law that's like 10.
Right.
And she's really, really good at tumbling, cheering, all the stuff. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
I just go and I watch her and I'm thinking, I'm like really hard on her. And we joke all the time and I like give her a hard time.
Right.
But like I'm watching her do her thing, and dude, it's incredible.
Yeah.
The flips that they can do. And then if you ever watch anything on TV or like the Olympics and things like that.
The gymnastics Olympics and the gymnastics, man.
Yeah,
it's
dude.
Nuts.
That's tough stuff.
Yeah.
I consider myself a hard worker, and at one point in my life I was in phenomenal shape. But by no means do I feel like I was even knocking on the door of being in any type of shape that they were.
Right.
So, I give cheerleaders and gymnasts and all those people a ton of credit. However, when I talk about parents living through their kids, go to a cheerleading competition in the area, or even just a big one. Dude, I'm telling you, listen.
Oh my gosh.
These cheerleading moms, like I'll be having a conversation with a cheerleading mom like 5 minutes before their routine takes off, right?
Yeah.
And it's like they flip a switch and turn into like some other person, right?
like a drill sergeant.
They throw their stuff, they run to the stage like they're 8 years old. I'm talking like a 55-year-old woman. She's running, and all I hear the entire time while the routine is going on is like, woo, like the whole time, like, yay. And I'm thinking, like, okay, I've been to like 5 of these, and I'm there to support my sister-in-law.
Right.
I'm there for my wife too, because she's really close to her sister, and and my wife is really good at was really good at it too. But my mother-in-law is one of the cheerleading moms, and I'm telling her right now, I hope you're listening. I told her tonight. Like, she does the same stuff. She's really cool to be around.
Yeah.
But she'll sprint to that stage and scream, and in my mind I'm thinking, like, this
no
is
matter
cool.
what's going on, she's screaming.
Yeah,
no
like this is awesome, and I'm glad that you're supporting your kids and you're promoting. But like, it's like we just turned into like zombies or something. Like, what is happening? And I'm looking up there and I'm thinking, wait, man. Like that's the same routine that I saw 2 months ago.
Yeah,
they're doing the same routine.
It's like you seeing it for the first time. Something that's blowing your mind.
And we are losing our mind. And then like, man, I'm telling you, the drama that we were talking about, like with parents and like basketball games and football.
I'm sure it's on a different level with
the drama
that.
and cheerleading. Like sometimes I'll listen to my wife talk about it a little bit, and it's not negative, it's not bad. I'm not talking bad about
Right,
it.
right.
But I'll listen to it, and I'm thinking, man, I can't even process this.
Yeah.
Like, what in the world? And then I'll like dissect it
How
down
do you guys
to
even
like,
think about these things? you know?
exactly. Like, you know, she was talking to me last week and now she's not talking. Well, she was flipping one day and now she's not flipping. And then they're talking about 8-year-olds being mad at other 8-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spot her because I'm mad at her and I'm mad at her mom. But then as soon as the routine starts, it's like, oh my God, we're all on like the same playing field again,
like,
which can be good, but it's like, this just seems fake to me.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, let's not be fake. Like, let's just be real with one another.
It's definitely, I think it's just as important as youth sports programs, youth cheerleading programs. They're just as important.
Absolutely.
But it can definitely be a weird thing when you're you know, in that environment.
And
for
maybe
sure.
it's just different to me because I was never
Right.
raised in that type of
Right.
situation. My sister cheered for a while and then she just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
But like, I've never really been to like a cheerleading competition, and these girls again,
I've never been to one either.
they
so I
are
can honestly say,
they're good,
yeah.
they're exceptional,
Yeah.
fantastic. But they travel to like this place, that place, this place, that place,
Right, right.
in a matter of like 2 months, and they do a phenomenal job, like I said. But I'm just in a situation where I've never been, like I've just
Yeah.
never been in that situation before, and I'm looking around, I'm thinking, like this is just so weird to me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And everybody's like jumping and screaming, and I got like middle-aged women out there like shaking their bodies in ways I've never seen bodies shake, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, your daughter did a back handspring. It's
great,
awesome.
But it's absolutely
And then 5 minutes later, there's drama going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't.
I wonder how many
cheerleading
like
moms get it.
I wonder how many fights there has been at those things. I wonder if fights ever break out.
Okay,
at
so
those things.
I don't think I've ever.
Have you seen a fight
I haven't
break
seen
out?
like a full-fledged fist fight. I've seen a lot of arguing between cheerleading
between moms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like you can tell whenever you go to these places, and you know, my father-in-law is even guilty of this as well. Like I remember going to one a couple years ago. It was a huge one. Like it was up in Columbus at like one of their convention centers or something.
Right.
I think it was at the Arnold.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah,
dude, this thing was monstrous, right?
Yeah.
But it's funny because as you're walking down, like you see all the moms, right, and they're like walking on the soles of their feet on their toes, and they're like really excited, and then like all the girls are like doing the little prissy stuff, and it's cool, like I'm laughing or whatever, and then you
Yeah.
see like all the guys, like all the dads, right? And the dads are just like there for whatever, so they don't get fined. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like so they don't get in trouble. Like they're just there, and like they're sitting over there on the bleachers, like you know, with their head down or whatever. And then
Right.
they do a good job whenever their kids out there doing their thing.
But
they
if
get out
it's
and
not
support.
their kid,
But you
they're-
can just tell like they're dreading it, and I'm just like cracking up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So-
I've never been to a cheerleading competition, but I would probably struggle at other than if my kid was up there. Not that it's not interesting, because it is
Right.
interesting and athletic, but it would. Yeah, I can definitely see where those dads are coming from.
Shout out to the cheerleaders, I'm telling you right now, because they do things that I could never dream
No,
about doing.
ever.
And
Yeah,
I'll go
ever.
to again, shout out Jill's Tumble World. I'll go there all the time with not all the time, but sometimes with my wife or my sister-in-law. And my sister-in-law again is 10, and she'll say, Chase, try this, and we'll be like doing stuff. I can do like I think I can do a back handspring and a backflip on a trampoline.
On it, yeah.
And she's doing fools like on the floor.
On the floor.
And I don't even
No,
know
I
like
can't even do one on a trampoline.
if it went in slow motion, I couldn't
Yeah.
tell you how she was moving her body still. Like
Yeah.
that's how crazy it is to me.
Yeah.
So hey,
That-
I'm telling you, they do stuff that is phenomenal. It's just when it comes to the cheerleading moms,
Yeah.
to me, it's just too much. It's hard to explain. It's just too much for me.
Yeah, yeah. It would be. It'd be like overwhelming, kind of. Really. Be like almost like a mosh pit at a concert. But
That's how it is too, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Oh,
That's
man.
because they all conglomerate. It's weird
Yeah.
because like if one team's up, it's like they know like 45 moms rush to the stage.
Right,
And then as
right.
soon as it's over, they leave and 45 more moms rush to the stage for the next for the next routine. And I'm
just
just like
like a
watching that happen.
cycle.
Like, man, I'm eating my my $8 corn dog covered in ketchup. Like, man, this is crazy. This is ridiculous.
Man.
So-
Well, that's hilarious, man. One thing, moving on to the next thing, kind of wanted to get your opinion on. We got the draft
Yeah.
coming up. Your opinion on really, I guess, the draft lottery, tanking in general, and then I guess we can roll. I like Zion, obviously, like Ja Morant.
Sure, very good.
Kind of what do you think the future of them two are, as well as like the importance of the lottery and tanking, if that
Yeah.
plays a part in anything?
So overall, you talk about the NBA draft. The NBA
Yeah.
draft to me is like it's really like watching any other type of like football game on a Saturday. Like it's
Right.
really important to me
Right.
because I keep up with the NBA all the time.
Yeah.
I thought this year was a little bit different, obviously, with the different structure that they had.
Yeah.
Overall, long term, like the night that I was watching it, I was like, man, I just kind of feel bad for New York. It just kind of sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were pumping Zion to be in New York.
Well, they
for like-
needed that, yeah.
for months on
Oh
top
my
of months on top
gosh,
of months,
they
and I
needed
feel
that.
like New York obviously would have been better.
Yeah.
It would have been a great market for Zion, even though he's a young guy.
Right.
But I think it would have been better for the NBA had he been there.
I think, well, and it's weird too, because when you look at, and they might at some point trade them off or whatever the case may
Sure.
be, but you look at New Orleans and Memphis, two of the smallest markets.
Yeah.
And the NBA got the top 2 picks. I'm not saying I don't want to not see small markets have a chance, but it's weird that them two got the first 2 picks.
Right.
You know, and I don't know how good that is for the NBA. I don't know.
It's really different how it worked out. I think long term though, you know, that's not going to happen all the time.
All the time, yeah.
That was still like, if I look back,
Each
at it,
of them
probably-
had 4 teams had a 14% chance or something.
There were 3 teams.
Three
yeah.
teams
I think
with a
3
14% chance.
So we had the New York Knicks, the Phoenix Suns, the Cleveland Cavaliers all had a 14% chance.
Yeah.
And I was kind of rooting for my homeboy John Beeline.
Right.
Because I follow Michigan football and basketball.
Yeah,
And
which is a great hire for the Cavs, I think, and we'll see what they do. They, obviously post LeBron era and everything
Right.
like that. We'll see.
Right.
We'll see what happens there. But
I was sort of excited for him just because I was thinking I'm not really a Cleveland fan, never
Right,
have been.
right.
I've never been a LeBron fan, so
Yeah.
I've never jumped on their bandwagon. But had they been able to secure the first pick or even the second pick
Right.
and acquire one of those guys, it would have been good for Beyonce. So I was rooting for him,
Yeah.
But the fact that not one of those teams got the first pick.
yeah,
It was crazy this year. I think long term it's going to be a little bit better because it's going to reduce the tanking. I think you mentioned tanking.
Yeah,
It's going to reduce that, because in my mind, I'm just completely against tanking.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I don't see. To me, I couldn't be on a team. Well, if I was making millions of dollars every year, I think that kind of lightened the blow. But
might compensate for it.
but it would be hard for me to accept just walking into that locker room every day, knowing that I know why we're playing. I know what we're doing. We're trying to get a chance at that first pick.
Sure.
And I think it's harder to do in the NFL than it is in the NBA. I mean, you can tank, but I mean, you really want to get. It's just one game a week. There is tanking in the NFL, I'm sure, but it's not as obvious because
to an extent.
It's not as obvious because instead of you got 11 on the field at a time or whatever instead of just 5 in your starting lineup. So
yeah, I mean, like football is, in my opinion, football is the ultimate team sport. People
Yeah.
talk about basketball being the ultimate team sport. I disagree because one player on a basketball team
can change the landscape of
He
what
can
you're doing.
Win the game
Yeah.
for you. He can lose the game for you.
Yes.
In football, it's not like that because you
Yeah.
have 5 guys blocking for you on every single play.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not just on you. The quarterback, like Tom Brady, is the best football player ever, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But he couldn't.
But he
do
has
it.
one of the smartest offensive lines in the game. He has one of the smartest head coaches in the game. He has one of the smartest, owners and things like that. So
there was a time I remember watching. Well, we can talk about the best players ever, in my opinion,
Right.
in our lifetime, in our generation. I know you talked about it on previous shows, but
Yeah.
you talk about guys like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. Just talk about those 3. Okay, at any point in any game, Phil Jackson, who was coaching Michael Jordan, theoretically could have sat down and said nothing, and Michael Jordan could have won a game for you.
Yeah.
Okay. If Bill Belichick goes to the locker room and drinks a cup of coffee, Tom Brady may or may not be able to win that game for you.
Right. Which the status that Brady's in right now, and that I guess era or whatever that he has in that locker room and the control he has of that locker room, he could probably win a game.
He could run an
Belichick.
offense. He could call audibles. People
Right.
respect him to do those things. But
Exactly.
like
but then you got the defense.
if the offensive line just said, "I ain't blocking for you," that's what it is. But if
It's done.
Michael
Yeah.
Jordan has the ball and everybody else says, "I'm gonna go stand in the corner," he could probably.
He's
still
going to be
score.
like, I'm going to take it to the rim.
Yeah. He's still gonna do his thing. He's probably still gonna win the game for you.
Yeah, agreed.
So when it comes, when it comes to tanking, I mean, I'm not a big fan. The NBA draft, I think long term will be better this way. It gives more teams a chance.
I agree.
You know what I mean? It gives more teams a chance.
Well, we see that. I mean, New Orleans and Memphis got the top 2 picks.
Right,
I mean,
and it happened in year 1, and it reduces the tanking, as I said. So,
Yeah.
and I think that Zion's going to have an exceptional career. I really do.
I do too.
I don't think he's happy about being where he's at.
No, and
He's
I
not gonna
think,
say that,
Well,
but
and
I don't-
a lot of people. There was talk, of him. There was talk of him when the draft results first came out of him, maybe like threatening to go back.
Sure.
To Duke or
Zion,
whatever
don't
the
do
case
that.
may. Yeah,
Yeah.
please don't do that.
Don't
I
do
don't
that.
think he's going to do that anyway because even no matter what team he's go to, he's going to have shoe deals. It doesn't
Exactly.
matter. He'll be fine. Don't miss out on that money.
Right.
Just
And-
get it, man.
And I think it was like
Don't
3
do
or
that.
4 days ago. I really appreciated what he said because he was just like straight to the point. They asked him about his shoe deal.
Yeah.
They said, "So, which shoe company are you going to sign with?" I know that Ja Morant signed with Nike this morning, so he may or may not sign with Nike.
Right.
But he was just sitting there and he was like, "Hey, whichever company gives me the most money."
Yeah,
And you know
yeah,
what? You
yeah, I
need to
agree.
capitalize on that
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
Right
and
now.
you need
Please
to
do it.
put that money away. You
Yes.
need to get that money, put that money away,
That's it.
and never look at it again because
That's right.
your NBA contract should sustain you
Sure.
through that.
And
So,
he is he's the Nets' best or the next closest athlete to LeBron James in the past decade.
Well, and that's there was a conversation I got on Facebook and whatever Facebook, how that
Sure.
gets, but
Sure.
they were comparing. People were comparing him to like Julius Randle and like things like that.
Zion?
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
I'm like,
goodness.
that's not even on like Chris Bosh. I'm like, it's really not even on the same level. I can see Bosh to an extent, I guess, but it's not even on
Sure.
the same level as them. And I think Zion, I see Zion being better than in the first 3 years in the league than Bosh really ever was.
Sure.
In my opinion, I see that happening very quickly.
I think. Well, I'll say this. I think his ceiling is much higher.
Much higher than Bosh's
Now,
ceiling. Yeah.
I'm okay with saying this. Like, I'm very, very bold about my statements whenever it comes to like saying who the best is and who the best isn't. Okay, I think. Like, let's just go backwards and now I'll connect it to Zion. Okay, I think LeBron James is the best athlete to ever grace an NBA court. Now, athlete.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think he's even close to the best player
overall
to grace an NBA court.
Yeah.
I think Zion is very comparable in terms of athletic stature to LeBron James, if not more athletic.
And he again, LeBron does have a very, very high basketball IQ. One of the highest IQs that I've ever witnessed or whatever. And I think Zion's the same way.
What puts LeBron over a lot of other players is that he can do some things that other players couldn't do. Like, we're not just talking about scoring ability. I know he can put the ball in the hole. He's good. I know he's 6'8", 260, and a lot of people can't match that.
And can rise up on
That's
people.
why I say he's the best athlete. He can rise up on people, and his jump shot has consistently gotten better.
Yes.
But in my opinion, what's really put him over the ledge, so to speak, and being like one of the best ever, which I'll say he's going to end up being top 10 best ever.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, some people would crucify me for that because he's like, oh no, it's top 2. Period. I'm going to say top 10.
LeBron,
period.
talking about LeBron.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
But what's got him into that discussion is his passing ability.
Yes.
I think he's really good at that.
And before this past season, his defensive ability, his IQ, his, like you said, his passing ability, his ability to see the court, his ability to play all 5 positions, kind of like Magic-esque on that court. He can play every single position you put him at.
Absolutely.
Point guard through center. And again, love Jordan, love Kobe. They couldn't play every position on the court.
Sure.
It wasn't. They couldn't line up at the 5.
I agree.
I'm sure they could still score.
I agree.
I'm sure, but they're not going to be. They're not going to be a dominant presence.
Yeah, and in terms of defense too, it's going to be a little bit more difficult.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Zion, I think that Zion resembles LeBron a lot in athletic stature.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
I don't think his ball handling skills are where they need to be like that type of guy.
Yeah.
I think his passing
But
skills
those
are
can
gonna be
improve.
okay.
Those can improve.
They're going to.
Those are
improve,
something
no
that can improve.
The kid's 19.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, and I can say that if he walked up right now, I would look like the kid. But he's 9 years younger, so I'll say the kid.
Yeah.
But I think his ball handling skills can get a lot better. I think his on-ball defense can get a lot better. But man, when you talk about he's a dominant force in the lane, his rebounding ability is like I think probably the best that I've ever seen in the college game.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
He can elevate so easily and so well, so strong.
Well, and I've seen him kind of, I guess, like almost Rodman-esque look at, kind of guess where the ball's going to go after it hits the rim.
Sure.
So real quick, random story about, not to try to plug Rodman in there, but
no, it's cool. I want to hear about it.
But
I love Rodman.
I read an article where during All-Star games and matchups between other teams during the regular season playoffs, whatever,
yeah, sure.
he would watch. He really wouldn't even warm up that much. He would watch the other team and see each player count the rotations on their ball when it came out of their hand to see where the ball went off the rim. And see which one, and would take that information into the game, and that's why. Well, obviously, he's one of the best rebounders ever. But he would.
Some guys just have like a knack for things like that. He had a knack for the ball.
Yeah.
He was always in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Now I can say that from a coach's perspective. Okay, well, if they shoot in the right corner and they miss, it's probably going to go the opposite corner.
It's probably going opposite corner.
Right,
yes.
I can say that. But for him to like sit there and dissect the rotation of the ball,
I mean, he would do it like when if they were playing, say it's the Eastern Conference and they're playing the Pistons or whatever, and he would count Isaiah Thomas's rotation on the ball to see if he did miss where likely it was to go.
Dude, that's like genius level stuff.
You don't look at Rodman like that, but I kind of see that that in Zion, that kind of paying attention to the game, that studying the game.
And we haven't even got to his like shot blocking ability.
Yeah,
he can cover so much space, right, with such little effort, and he can elevate so easily and get so high. I mean, that I think it was the Virginia game, maybe at Virginia. There was like a drive and kick, and they kicked it to a three-point shooter, and he recovered. He was like scrambling on defense,
exactly.
And he elevated from what seemed like 20 feet.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, he's wasting his effort. Like he's wasting his time. He's not gonna block that shot.
Yeah,
and he blocked the shot. Not only did he block, he didn't just tip it.
Yeah,
he blocked it like the third row.
Sent it to the stands.
I'm thinking, what in the world? I'm like watching that. My mouth is like on the floor, like, oh my goodness. And then I'm thinking, like, how are they not beating this team like down by like 30, and they were up by like 1 at the time. You know?
I agree. I don't think you can miss with either one, Ja Morant or Ja or Zion. I don't think you can miss with either one.
I think I would love to get on Ja. I did a lot of research lately on Ja just because.
And I know he comes out of a small school. I know. And,
he does, and he's young, man. He's only a sophomore. You know what I mean? And you can say, well, that's kind of old in the college game. Well, yeah, but now we're talking about a guard that could be undersized.
Yes.
That comes from a small conference and that hasn't played against great competition.
Right.
And you can say, well, he played really good against Marquette, and he did. He had a triple-double in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
But the Nets game, they got waxed pretty nice, like 90-62. But he still had a great game.
Yeah.
So just talking about his game, I like Ja a lot. I think that he closely resembles I might be stretching this. I don't think that Ja is as good as an athlete as Russell Westbrook is.
No, I don't think he's as good as an athlete, but his, I see what you're saying, his kind of mentality or his way that he kind of controls the court kind of reminds me of
when he gets in the lane, he can elevate really well, too. And he has a better jump shot than Russell Westbrook, in my opinion.
Right.
So, but I was a little surprised like how easily Memphis just came out and said, we're going to take him over R.J. Barrett. Like, I think RJ's ceiling is really high.
I think RJ's great, and that might be a great fit for New York. You know what I'm saying? And they might end up taking RJ Barrett over.
They could. Well, think about Memphis. Mike Conley is still under contract at Memphis, right?
Yeah. Oh, he's a great player.
Yeah.
I love Mike Conley.
So Ja comes in. Is he going to take his spot? Are they going to coexist together? Are they going to play?
Is Conley going to move to shooting guard?
Right. Are they going to trade him? What are they going to do?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you can miss with Ja either. I would agree with you there. I think that he needs to work on his. He probably needs to get a little stronger, work on his size. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be a little bit
his
bigger
first
player.
year is probably going to be a little rough. First 2 years, I mean, he's going to have to get used to the game, the speed of the NBA game. He's going to, which I'm sure he's already been working out with those kind of people and stuff like that. But he's going to have to get used to the speed of the game. He's going to have to get used to the size, strength of the game. And,
I saw
he doesn't see that at Murray State.
He doesn't see it consistently. Yeah, he doesn't. I saw a player comparison the other day, and there was a reporter that compared him to Steve Francis. I don't know if do you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stevie franchise, man.
Yeah, but he was a stud. Now he wasn't like great, like on both ends of the court, like defense wise.
Not really, but he when he was with the Rockets there for a minute, he kind of carried them to some wins.
I think so too. Yeah. I mean, his offensive ability, like ball handling wise, shooting wise, breaking a player down, was honestly some of the best that I've ever seen.
Right.
He was like Baron Davis-esque, and people were probably thinking when I say that, people were probably thinking like Baron Davis. You know, Steve Francis. But offensively, I mean, these guys could really put it to you.
They could.
I remember Steve, I can't remember which game it was, but I can look the highlight up right now. I remember him, like, driving the lane. Somebody was guarding him. He did a step back crossover or something like that, and he just like stopped and froze and like looked at the rim like he was going to shoot it, and the guy left the floor like he was going to block it. He dribbles under him, right? So he does
still got his dribble live.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy. So he had a wide open layup. What'd he do? No, he pulled it out, right, and did the same move to him again, and then went and laid it up. I was thinking, oh my gosh.
And that's what Stevie franchise does, man.
Oh my goodness, and that's why he was the franchise.
I wonder what happened to him though, man. He fell off so fast.
I think what happened, I don't know if he got injured, but I know that he ended his career.
And some players don't mold to and don't adapt well to older age and things like that.
Right,
but man, he fell off.
Well, you're talking about like whenever you talk about the business side. I mean, you know, you get traded once, and all of a sudden you become a journeyman, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, you get traded. You're all of a sudden you're in a 3-team trade, and then a 4-team trade, and then you're all over the place. And by the time you get traded the 5th time, you're not worth a nickel.
Yeah.
So then I think he finished his career in the Euro League.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know what Marbury or something. I heard that Marbury real quick, random.
No, it's cool.
Thing. I heard he was he's pretty much like a god in China.
For real? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he and his shoes, his $15, $20 shoes.
I had a pair of those.
I had a pair of those too. I had a pair of those too. And I loved them because they were $15, $20, like whatever.
They were nothing. They were kind of stiff and holding your feet.
Yeah. They weren't great quality, but it's just I got some Marburys.
I'm wearing bricks, but they're only $15.
Kind of like Shaq's shoes. I had a pair of them too.
Dude, I had the zip ups.
Yeah,
all black and the zip ups. Yeah.
But apparently he is at one point. I mean, he was still playing in China. I think he's close to 50 years old right now, and he was playing. He was playing deep into his like mid 40s.
Right.
Over in China, and he was like a star.
You're talking about a guy that could really ball.
Oh,
in his prime.
Yeah.
But a star in China. I know that Jimmer Fredette was a big star in China there for a while, and then he signed back in the NBA.
Yeah, I saw who's he with?
In the league.
I saw him.
Is he not playing for Phoenix? I'm pretty sure.
I thought he might be playing for Phoenix. That might be who it is.
Whenever Devin Booker went off 50 for 4 straight games, I'm pretty sure I saw Jimmer walking up and down the court yeah, do your thing, man.
Great, I'm just here, man.
Yeah, I got signed a 10-day contract or something. But
which I always loved Fredette in college. I mean, he was a great player. But
nasty.
The only player I've really seen transition like that, I guess, and really have a strong NBA career, because Adam Morrison fell out. I mean, players that are just those shooters that you want to see do good in the NBA, but then they just kind of fade out. Adam Morrison faded
came to
out.
a bad hole in the NCAA tournament too, right? He got beaten the Sweet 16 or something.
Are you talking about Adam Morrison?
Adam Morrison
at Gonzaga. They got upset by somebody real bad.
Was that the year that he and J.J. Redick were top 2 players in the nation?
Well, that's who I was going to bring up. I think the only player I've ever seen really adapt to the NBA game and carve out a really nice career is J.J. Redick.
Because he can shoot the ball consistently. Consistently well. And he's a threat all over the court. And he's one of those guys that you don't want to guard. Adam Morrison wasn't necessarily that guy. But let's make the connection. What makes Steph Curry Steph Curry? He is so hard to guard off the dribble and off the ball.
Moves at all game long. He's running around.
Whenever you're watching Philadelphia play, you know what I mean? Jimmy Butler has the ball. Okay, Ben Simmons has the ball. Joel Embiid has the ball. What's J.J. Redick doing? You think he's standing still? No. He's running that guy. He's got that guy to death.
Yeah.
And then he gets you for 2 or 3 straight threes.
Yeah.
And that's why he's difficult to guard. And he can connect, man. He can transition to the NBA game because the guy never stops moving.
He doesn't move.
And he can knock that thing down.
Yeah. And I think I see that kind of same mentality in Ja Morant and R.J. Barrett. That always moving, always getting open, always moving without the ball.
And Ja is such a threat with the ball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't see much of Ja without the ball, but I mean, they still, and especially R.J. Barrett, because Zion had the ball a lot. But you see him moving off picks and screens and getting around. So I think that's the early tellings of what NBA player, if they can carve out a career. I think I'm no scout or whatever, but
I don't want to go off script here, but I think just one little comment, in my opinion. The sleeper in the top 10 picks, could be top 5, is this year is going to be Cam Reddish.
You think so?
I think so. I don't think he had a great season at Duke, but I'm gonna be very bold in saying this. I think he is on the same level of athleticism in terms of Zion and R.J. Barrett. Now, he's in the same stratosphere. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Obviously, he's not as good of an athlete as Zion. But I was reading a report the other day. I guess he was working out with an NBA trainer or whatever.
Right.
And the trainer was on record by saying I've worked all these guys out, and he is by far the most impressive with the ball in his hands, without the ball in his hands, defensively, offensively,
so I wonder if
athletically.
Do you think why? I wonder why he didn't take more of control at Duke, I guess.
No.
Well, I know he had Zion, he had R.J. Barrett. That's a lot of hands for the ball to touch and go through.
Whenever you're a great player, sometimes, Zion dominated the ball. R.J. dominated the ball more than Zion did. So Cam didn't have nearly as many touches. And I think he's the type of player that he's got to have some touches to really get himself going. He had a couple really good games. He had a lot of very average games. And then he had a couple just horrible games. He hit one of the biggest shots of the season, in my opinion, at Florida State.
Exactly.
Which was a breakdown on defense, but still, he knocked it down. He can really get himself going. I think that if he were to go to a Chicago or something like that,
that'd be a great fit for him.
Even
probably,
Cleveland,
Cleveland,
I think he could play off of Colin Sexton and be really good.
Love Colin Sexton, man. I think he's going to be
distribute.
one. Yeah. I think that real quick. I think that it's almost this similar type of situation when Harden was in OKC. And he kind of just faded back, and you really didn't know who Harden was. When you knew who he was, but you didn't know that. Man, he is the best offensive player in the game right now. Up there with Steph Curry, and you know what I'm saying. But
he's in
Kevin
the conversation.
Durant. He's definitely. I think. Has to be top 3 up there with Durant and Curry.
He's there.
Has to be.
He's without a doubt there. Yes.
Not to switch up subjects too broadly or whatever, but I know me and you have had our past run-ins on the poker table.
Yes.
Several. Yeah, several. I want to get your opinion on sports gambling as a whole.
Yeah, sure.
How you think can it be bad for sports? Can it be good for sports? Can it? My personal opinion, it can draw revenue as well as poker's emergence, kind of like celebrity emergence in the last 20 years.
Here's how I want to start this. Okay, a lot of people that know me know that I am. I don't want to say I'm an avid gambler. That's not what I am. But
he does not need help. I'm
not going to gamble away the house payment. I promise you. Jalen knows that.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
good.
don't
She
worry
loves
about
me.
it.
I love her. We're good there. We've had several conversations. One of my hobbies is playing cards.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
gambling on some games every once in a while. Sports gambling.
Right.
It's not a bad thing. I want to start by saying that this stigma over poker and sports gambling, in my opinion, needs to be dropped.
Yeah.
The only stigma that needs to remain is when somebody is gambling outside of their means. Like, don't
Yes.
do that. Absolutely.
Yes.
You know what I
don't
mean?
do that. There's no need to do that.
Like, gambling issues are just
Well,
like
that's with anything. And
drug
not-
issues.
Yeah.
You can become addicted.
Yeah, it's drug issues. You can become addicted to TV and not getting off the couch. You can become addicted to a cheeseburgers
Sure.
and not being able. And
Sure.
obviously, I'm sure heroin probably has a lot worse effects than
That's
a
a
cheeseburger.
little different, yeah.
But my point is, you can any addiction if you don't use, I guess, control
Right.
over. Yourself and,
Right.
and your whatever you're wanting to do, then anything can become a negative aspect of your life and
I had
negative
a
impact
very
on your life.
very frank conversation with somebody one time. I had just come back. I won't say names, but I had just come
Yeah.
back from the casino one night. This was years ago, and I played poker. I think I had lost like $200 or
Right,
something.
right.
And I come back and I was talking to just these people, and they said, we were talking about our day, and I said, yeah, I was at the casino. I lost $200, and they looked at me like I had killed someone.
Or like gambled away your house and your kids have nowhere to stay.
like $200, that could be a decent amount of money. But it was very interesting because that person had just come back from the mall, and I said, "How much money did you spend at the mall today?" And they were like, "Oh, we spent like $300 or $400, but we saved $600, $700."
You didn't save nothing. You spent.
Right.
didn't
You spent
save
$300,
anything.
$400. I spent $200. See, my life is a little bit different. I am so simple.
Yeah.
I was talking to my wife the other day, and we were talking about like the shoes that we had.
Yes.
And I realized I haven't bought a pair of shoes in 2 years.
I haven't either.
We don't go
Yeah.
out to eat that much. We don't go
Yeah.
to movies. So my entertainment is sometimes to play cards.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
As long as I'm regulating it the way that I should be, everything's good. We're all good. But I made that point to that person like, oh, okay, so you just spent $300 on things that you don't necessarily need.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So that's your hobby.
Right. that's
What's
your-
wrong with
Right,
my
it's
hobby?
a form of entertainment.
Yeah.
It's a form of entertainment. Now, are all people like that? Absolutely not. But man,
Yeah.
I come from a long line of poker players. You
Yes.
know what I mean? And I was taught poker by my family, and it's something that
Me
we
too.
would just do
Yep.
whenever we have like cookouts and things like that. We just
Yeah.
play small ball and we play.
Yeah.
So again, I just want people to know that it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing at all. It's a hobby. It stimulates
Yep.
your mind, in my opinion. I
It
think
does.
more at the poker table than I ever do.
Yeah.
outside of it.
So I have, Morgan, my wife, we get in conversations all the time, and she has her hobbies. I have mine, which each person in a relationship needs, obviously.
Absolutely.
For a healthy relationship, in my opinion. But it's almost. I tell her, like, she'll ask me something, and I'll be like, "Well, there's this percentage of that happening, or it's probably like 3-to-1 odds, or whatever."
Sure.
And she's like, "How do you know that? Like, what do you? Why? I mean," and I was like, and
Well,
she was
the
like, "Were you
implied
also?"
odds, yeah.
She was like, "Were you good at math in high school?" I was like, "Well, not necessarily, but
No.
I was like, I grew up playing cards and
Yeah.
percentages and sports in general.
Can't do
statistics
trig,
and
but I can tell you any statistic that you want to know.
Exactly. Yeah. I tell her, I'm like, man, I'm just like that. I can
Yeah.
see odds if I know all the information
It's
and stuff like that.
interesting.
Just because
It really is interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is to me. And sports gambling in general, I think it kind of has like a negative because the whole Pete Rose thing or whatever
Sure,
it is.
sure.
Which,
yeah, put
which
him in
is
the Hall of Fame, by the way.
Please, just that's
Just
a
be done
separate
with it.
conversation.
Just be done with it.
Yeah, because I can't even have a conversation. But just put him in the Hall of Fame. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't even consider guys like Barry Bonds and A-Rod and,
Sure.
and people like that, if you're not going to put Pete Rose
Sure.
in, that's
Put him in there.
ridiculous. Yeah,
He deserves to be in there.
yeah. We'll move on from that subject, but.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just almost. I think it's good. And it's going to bring a lot of revenue. That I know sports has a lot of revenue, but it might even bring more revenue to sports, like we were talking about earlier, the WNBA.
Oh my gosh.
The what
Yes.
curling or whatever whatever. It can
Yes.
bring more revenue to the and notoriety to those sports like that.
So each year, I'm telling you, the Super Bowl breaks records each year on like most money wagered. each year.
Exactly.
And it blew it out of the water
And obviously,
this year.
people are going to watch what they're putting money on.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're talking about viewership, like in terms of football, like some people say football's dying. I disagree slightly. I think that the game will be much different in about 10 or 20 years.
Well,
Whenever our kids grow
yeah.
up, I think it'll be different.
Yeah.
But I think football will still be there. And it's something that you can gamble on, like you said. And I think that anytime somebody is betting on a game is going to draw viewers.
Oh,
and
has
anytime
to.
you draw
Yeah.
viewers, you're going to remain popular.
Has
you know
to,
what I
yeah.
mean? So that's why I think football is going to remain popular for a very long time. But as of other sports, like you said, you can use this money to really do anything you want to do with it. I think that it'll benefit states. It'll benefit the country.
Exactly.
Overall.
Because tax dollars are coming out of that too.
Absolutely.
You know,
that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So I think that it'll benefit sports overall. And whenever you get like the NBA commissioner coming out and saying, like Silver says all the time, like I am for this 100%.
Which I like Adam Silver as NBA
Adam Silver's the
commissioner.
man. He's also a Duke guy. You know what I mean? So kudos
he's
to him.
he's a great commissioner.
Really intelligent.
Better
When
than
he-
Goodell.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. but whenever he comes out and says like I'm for this, like there's a reason behind it. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly,
Now,
yeah.
obviously, there's a lot of money for him to make. I get it.
Yeah,
I completely
and the
understand
league
that.
in general, the brand. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, like for crying out loud, they have
But that's his
advertisements
job.
on their jerseys
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Like, they're out for making money. We get it. It's a
That's
business.
his job is to push the NBA as a brand and as a global brand. That's his
Sure.
job. That's one of his, I'm sure, duties as commissioner to do that for sure.
Oh, no doubt.
For sure. Kind of going back into how we mentioned before the emergence of poker over the last 20 years and kind of how it's taken over that specific wing of gambling. Do you see the emergence of poker over the last 20 years? How do you view that? What's the reason? What's the reason for that, you think?
So I think what really helped the emergence of poker was about 20 years ago. That's when online poker was becoming a little bit more popular.
Right,
So
right.
it's 2019 now, so you're talking 1999. It hadn't really hit streams yet that hard.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the movie that's like my top 5 all-time, Rounders.
Rounders, yeah.
That came out in...
that is one of my all-time favorite movies.
That came
ever.
out in 1998,
Yeah.
I believe, and I think that really kind of instilled poker into like the mainstream.
Yes.
I really did.
I think it did too, yeah.
Now,
'Cause-
I mean, he was talking about in that movie. They talk about like Johnny Chan, some
Right.
poker pros that are going to
Yeah.
go down in history of some of
Yeah.
the best poker players ever. And I think whenever that hit, it didn't really do that well in theaters. I don't think it only grossed like 23 million.
Yeah.
But now it's like a mainstay. Like poker players go back to that all the time.
Yeah.
Actually, I have it on Blu-ray at my house. Like,
Yeah.
I watch it.
I have it, yeah. I have
watch
a
it once a
DVD
month.
of it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think like whenever the combination of that and then online poker, I think whenever that stuff hit, it became a little bit more popular among just like regular users. When they can play at home, they can play on
Right.
their phone, they can play this,
Yeah.
they can play here. They don't have to go to a casino to play.
Right.
And it also gave a lot of people hope. I think that if they would have done a Rounders 2 after Chris Moneymaker won it,
Yeah.
I think he was a big reason why too, because
He was pretty
a
much a nobody
he was
that
a
came
nobody.
in.
Yeah.
I haven't really heard much from him since. I've seen him in like some big cash games and stuff since then, which
Yeah.
he might be doing good. I don't know, but ever since that win, I mean, when he won that in 03, I
yes.
think was that what it was?
Yeah,
he
it
won
was.
that in 03. Like you said, I mean, that was a big because everybody was like, well, man, hell, if he can do it.
Exactly.
Man, man,
I have
I-
a chance. I'm
yeah.
pretty sure, like, I don't know his story, like, to a T. In 2003, I was only, like, 12 or 13 years old, but I remember that's kind of when I started playing poker myself.
Yeah.
But I remember his story somewhat. I'm pretty sure, like, he started playing online because
Yeah.
it got really popular, like Poker Stars probably.
Yeah.
He played in a satellite.
Right.
He had, like, a nickel in his pocket.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't worth a lot, right?
Yeah.
And then he won a ticket to the satellite online.
And then won that one.
Yeah. And then, like, he had rarely played live poker.
Right.
And that's really, that, in my opinion, that helped the emergence because, you're talking about a guy that had never played with chips before. He won a satellite. Then he takes his, but they fly him out to Las Vegas. He plays with some of the best poker players in the world and wins it.
That's crazy.
For millions of dollars.
Yeah. And I remember Sammy Farha, the person who he matched up with in that 03
Yes.
matchup,
Yes.
is a pro. I mean, is a is a poker. I mean, I might be in the Poker Hall of Fame. I don't
He's
know.
like, he's like an old school poker guy.
yeah,
I mean, he
old
walks
school.
around with a cigarette. in
Old
his
school
ear.
pro. Yeah.
And people know who he is.
And he beat him. And that pot that I still remember that pot
Yeah.
that he bluffed. He had, I don't remember what he had, but it was like something like 7-4 offsuit.
Yeah, I was going
And-
to say 4-5. like
Yeah,
something
so
like that.
whatever. It might have been 4 or 5, but he did not have anything.
Yeah.
Not like 8 high at the most.
Uh-huh.
And Sammy Varhal sitting with I think like 2 pair or
Yeah.
something, and he for tournament life for the bracelet
Yeah.
bluffed him off that pot.
Yes.
It was just
Yes.
one of the craziest plays I've
to
ever seen.
see a nobody like that. I hate to say a nobody because now obviously he's relevant,
right.
But to see a guy come from nothing to something in the poker world, I mean, it hadn't really been seen before.
Yeah.
But I think that really kind of like blew it up. I think it blew up online poker, even though
Yeah.
online poker is kind of having its issues right now in America. You know what I mean? You can't
Which
really
is
play.
which is a weird thing. I don't know why. I mean, do you know why?
I really
that
don't know
is?
the actual. Well, I think that whenever Full Tilt was going through their thing, do you remember that? Like it was like 2009, 2010, maybe.
Was it where they weren't paying off their
I think
players or something?
I would hate to comment on it specifically and not really know. I know that like I want to say like Howard Letterman and some other guy. Who was the guy that was called Jesus? Had the long
It's Chris Ferguson.
Chris Ferguson.
Yeah, he could cut like fruit in half with a
Yeah,
card.
he was good.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's a really good card player. I'm pretty sure they were on like some like board of directors or something for full tilt poker. Excuse
Right.
me. And that was a competitor of like Poker Stars and Party Poker and places like that.
Yeah.
I think that whenever people were depositing, they were committing fraud by using the funds in illegal ways. So whenever people were requesting payouts, the money was not there.
Oh, so it was taking forever for them
so
to
the
get their
Department of
payouts.
Justice pretty much like
Was like all the this
put
could
them under
happen.
wraps.
Yeah, this could happen to any poker site.
Yes, shut them down.
Shut it
so
down.
now it goes through litigation, and now it's still in like the preliminary stages of trying to come back.
Yeah.
But to my knowledge, it's legal in Europe, and it's legal in New Jersey, and it's also legal in Nevada, I believe, to play
Right.
online poker. You can play like on WSOP.
Right.
I think,
But if you're in any other state, really, it's
yeah,
not.
you can't play. So you know,
which is as much as I hate to say, fraud could happen in any business. So just because it happens in one specific. One specific location within a general industry,
Sure.
doesn't mean that every store or whatever supplier in that industry
Right.
is going to be fraudulent.
I think during that time, I know that a lot of people lost a lot of money. I remember reading a story where Chris Jesus Ferguson was like, he first of all, he didn't play live poker for like years after that because he was afraid of like going out in public, I guess.
Yeah.
So he finally comes out in public a few years ago and plays in a live tournament, and there was a guy just like you and me sitting there. I guess he had a big bankroll on Full Tilt,
And
whenever
lost
the
it
Department
all.
of Justice came down and shut it down, he lost like 30 grand and only got like a portion of it back.
Oh,
so
my
he like
gosh.
put Ferguson on the spot and said, "Yeah, I lost a massive bankroll on that." Like stared him down. It was like a big issue in the poker world for a
man,
while.
what did Ferguson do?
He had his glasses on and didn't even comment, or he said he had like a snide comment like, "Oh, I'm sorry," or he said, "Well, at least you got some of it back," or something like that.
My God,
so
dude.
yeah, so the guy was like
that
on
would
tilt
go right
there.
through me because I mean you're talking to someone that really had a lot of control and was the face of that.
Exactly.
of
Well,
that
he was
business.
he was definitely a face. I think Ivy was a face of it for a while too,
Yeah.
and which he's having his own problems now.
Which I did have a story for you about him on that. So did you hear about? Okay, so it wasn't poker. I think it was like Baccarat or something. Which
Baccarat,
I
that's what it
don't
was.
even know how to play.
Me either.
But
Never played it.
Yeah, but he and you might already know this story. He so he went to a casino and was like, "Hey, I can as long as I can pick the type of card." The brand of card that y'all use, and you do this exact, and you do how I want it. I guess this casino opened up a challenge to like pro gamblers and
Sure.
was like, "Hey, you can pick what cards you want and whatever, a couple other qualifications, ramifications.
Yeah.
And you can pick whatever type of cards you want, bankroll you want, however you want, and you won't beat us, or you can keep whatever you win, whatever the case may be." Well, obviously Ivy did all those, followed those rules.
They just wanted him there or something
And
for
something
promotion.
like it was like a promotion thing. So
Okay.
he took him for about $7 million.
Oh, my goodness.
Over a long, I guess over about a week or so, maybe.
Yeah.
And then they found out, they didn't pay his money. They didn't pay him his winnings. They went to court, and the court ruled in favor of the casino because
Oh, my
apparently Phil Ivey picked that deck of that type of card.
I see.
And this, I guess he came out and said this after the decision was already made and stuff, but he picked that type of card because there was a flaw, and not that he could tell what exact card it was,
Right.
but he could eliminate a bunch of cards.
He had some sort of angle to it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So he
you had
there
an
was like a
advantage.
flaw in the design of the back of the card
My goodness.
where he could tell, and apparently that's why he picked that deck.
I knew he was having his issues. I didn't really know the story.
Yeah,
from
which I don't know
from
how big of an issue that is, but
Right.
yeah.
Well, I'd say it's some sort of a big issue. If it cost him that much money, it cost him $7 million
Which
because he won
I-
the $7 million.
yeah.
So it's probably going to cost him more in legal fees and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but a player of his stature,
Yeah.
I mean,
because he sued them and lost to get his money.
Gotcha,
and
gotcha,
lost.
gotcha.
So
wow. You're talking about a guy that's worth a ton of money going in. Like, man, you don't need the angle, number
Yeah.
one. But if he was there for promotional duties, it's kind of weird.
yeah,
how that
and
happened.
I don't know and I hate to like get into detail about it because I don't know every aspect of it, and
Sure.
I don't know if it was promotional or that casino was just like, hey, here's a challenge to all those.
Sure.
Let's see if you can do it or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, man, it's pretty crazy.
That is a little crazy. But yeah, I mean, overall, in terms of the poker emergence or emerging poker players, I mean,
Yeah.
they came along, I think, whenever online poker hit.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy to think that like that was a big reason why it exploded, and then
Right.
now you can't play, and it's still going strong.
Yeah.
And that's I want to make my announcement to you. I think that you're gonna like this and you're gonna enjoy it.
All right.
So I made a deal with my dad about 3 or 4 months ago, and obviously I ran it by my wife, to make sure it was cool.
You have to, yeah.
So I said, okay, Dad, I want to play in the World Series of Poker. Like, and I would like for you to play in the World Series of Poker
like
too.
a satellite event, or like, because they have like the $1,500 events.
I want to play. I told him straight
main
up.
event.
I want to play in the main event. Like, I'm a teacher. I have summers off. Do you know what I mean? Like, we can make it happen.
Yeah.
If we can put the money together, I think that we can do it. So he was like, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll set up a plan. Blah blah blah. We'll do this. And he said, but we're not going to do it this year in 2019. He said, we'll do it in 2020. We'll go ahead and plan it ahead of time. And I said, you know, that's cool. And then I was looking at the World Series of Poker schedule this year, just because I was interested in it, see what's going on.
Right.
So the WSOP this year is doing an event called the Big 50. It is the 50th anniversary of the WSOP period.
Okay.
And it's a small buy-in. It's like low risk, high reward. So they're offering a $500 buy-in for a $5 million guaranteed prize pool, where the winner is guaranteed $1 million. So I called him up and was like, hey.
How many people you think are going to be in this?
Well, they have 4 flights. Maximum for each flight is 4,800 people.
Okay.
So theoretically, almost 20,000
Yeah,
people.
right.
They were expecting over about 10,000. But I called him up and was like, you know what? This is too good to pass up. We're going to nix the 2020. I'm going to play this. And this is in, what is today, Monday? I am flying out in 5 days.
Oh my gosh, that's
awesome,
man.
To Vegas. I'm gonna pay my $500 up front. And you can rebuy for as long as it's the first day, you can rebuy for $500.
Yeah.
But you can't rebuy outside the first flight. So I'm gonna play in flight 4. I think it's just flight D. It might just be flight D or flight 4.
Right.
That's on Sunday. So I'm flying on Saturday. I'm gonna start Sunday.
And this is in Vegas, right?
This is in Las Vegas. It's at the Rio. So it's actually kind of what you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
It is an event of the World Series of Poker.
Yes, so
it's just not the main event.
Right.
It definitely counts, and the winner. So I'm paying $500.
And you'll get a bracelet if you win.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you do.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want that in that $5 million pool, but but man, having a bracelet, I'd wear that shit around everywhere.
Oh, me too. Like, hey, have you guys seen this yet? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's awesome, man. Congrats.
I appreciate
That's
it.
cool.
I knew that you'd
cool.
be excited. I did want to make the announcement on here, especially to you, because thinking back, man, those are good times whenever we first started playing cards when we were younger, right out of high school and stuff.
Yeah.
That's really
where we cut our teeth in cards, man.
Yeah,
really.
Man. That's where I learned a lot, and spent a lot of time, and it became a very valuable hobby to me. But I'm going after that million hard, and I hope that I have. It'd be a miracle to win, but I hope I have some luck.
Hey, if Chris Moneymaker can do it,
if he can do it, I can do it, right?
Well, you heard it here first, guys. Chase Kratzenberg going to the World Series of Poker, playing in an event, man. That is awesome.
I'm thinking about one thing. I ran it by my wife because I figured she was gonna. It was like short notice. So I figured she was gonna say, nah, no. I don't think so. I don't agree. Yeah. But she's like, hey, she literally said, I don't care. And I was like, what? Like, that's okay. I'm out.
Let's go.
I booked my flight that day, and she's cool with it. And when I have her support, honestly, like, I feel like I can win. I truly feel like I can win.
Yes. Well, it's hard when if you don't have the support of those around you and those who you love.
Yeah. So I'm going after it hard, and then I'm going to do that, and then come back and hopefully get into summer basketball and things like that. So it'll be a good start to my summer.
Yeah.
It'll be a good note to my summer. It'll be fun. And like I said, I don't get a lot of time to play throughout the year because I'm teaching and we're busy with family and on the weekends and things like that. So I'm grateful to the family for allowing me to go out there and hopefully invest my money in the right way and take a chance, take a stab, and maybe come out with a bunch of money, and then I'm just thinking debt free, baby. We're gonna pay everything off.
Yeah, that's right, man.
And pay it all off.
What's up,
and
man?
Try to get the family out of debt. And we're gonna be I told my parents. I said, I'm gonna go out there, come back. I'm gonna win the million. I'm gonna pay off my school loan debt, and I'm gonna use the extra $10 to go buy some ice cream. Because we'll be
exactly, man. Exactly.
We'll have school loan debt until we're dead, probably.
And especially our generation. Yeah. I feel you on that, but congrats, man. That's super awesome, man.
Appreciate it.
Super pumped for you, man. Man, I can't wait. We'll be supporting you.
Absolutely.
On the sidelines, we'll be supporting you the whole way.
No doubt.
That's awesome. That is awesome. All right, moving on to our trivia portion. My personal favorite part of the show. Real quick, want to give a shout out to our sponsors for trivia, which is Sleepy Pelican Travel Group and the Bar on 3rd. If you have any travel, anything, business or pleasure, tropic or not, get a hold of Sleepy Pelican. You can reach them at Sleepy Pelican TG. And the Bar on 3rd in Ironton, Ohio, got a lot of events coming up, comedy show in July. Hit them up, and they're at Bar on 3rd. So, Chase, I will let you have the go-ahead. I will let you ask the first question.
All right, so you get 3 questions,
pumped me up for this before we went. All right, 3 questions.
Cool. Okay.
3 questions.
So I'm going to be really petty with one of my questions. But I set it up to where
I know, yeah.
But I set it up to where you could be like extra petty back.
Okay,
All right?
cool.
But that's going to be question 3.
Oh, okay.
Only
Yeah, save that
because
for
we
last.
talked about some like youth sports and like high school and stuff. All right.
I think I already know where this
I'm
is
gonna
going.
get a dig.
I think I already know
you
this
can
is
get
going.
one back on me.
Okay.
All right. So we ended with poker. So I'm going to talk about. Well, my first question is going to be about poker. So it's really basic question. All right.
Yeah.
But I always forget. All right.
Okay.
The date and the winner. So when or what year was the first World Series of Poker main event?
Oh gosh.
And it's a combo question. Who was the winner? Who won it?
See, because okay, so obviously my first answer I want to go Doyle Brunson, but I don't think that's right.
I wouldn't ask that question if it was Doyle. That's
Yeah,
incorrect.
I know. So, and I know he won in 77 and 78. Gosh, and I know the guy's name, and I know it's not like Stu Unger.
This was like back when they played
yeah.
like the World Series of Poker main event.
Okay,
was like
so
one table.
Okay, I'm gonna get my guess on the person is Amarillo Slim.
That's a heck of an answer, but that's incorrect.
Okay, so and I'm gonna the year 65.
Ooh, close. All right, so the first main event was 1970.
Okay.
Johnny Moss.
Gosh, I knew that name was right on the top of my tongue.
And he goes back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes 70, 71
right.
back to back.
Yeah.
So,
good
yeah.
question.
Oh, yeah.
Great
Oh,
question. Golly. All right. You got me on that one. My first question is also a poker question.
Oh, gosh.
So what pro poker player took a billionaire mathematician for over $16 million over the course of 3 days because the mathematician said that I can beat you based off math and lost $16 million.
16 based off math. Wow, that's a now talking about gambling.
He was a billionaire mathematician.
That's still extra gambling.
Yeah.
For people that don't understand the game.
So $16 million to him probably wasn't that much, but this well-known poker player, well-known, took him for $16 million over the course of 3 days. Who was that?
That's such a tough question.
Yeah, and it's within.
And I should know it.
I will give you like a year range.
Okay.
I think. It doesn't give me. It's okay. So it's within like late 90s to now. It's a player that you would obviously know.
I would know him. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer, but you said late 90s. There's some
not that it took place in the late 90s because I don't know the exact.
But he's been
date.
popular from then.
He's since poker got popular, he's been popular.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go with the genius of all geniuses and say Daniel Negreanu.
That is a great guess. It is Phil Ivey.
Oh my God! Why did I not guess that?
Yeah. So good guy. I mean, that was I would have guessed Negreanu too.
If there's two guys that I don't want to play against,
that's them too.
Those two.
They're so intimidating. I don't even know. I'd probably just piss on myself.
I just fold.
I tell I'm just holding like kings or aces.
Yeah,
and
you raise me, I fold. If I have aces, I might fold. I think this is good. I don't think I can beat you. You can have it. Take my money.
All right. Question number 2 for you.
All right, cool. So we're going to look into college basketball a little bit.
Okay. I'm going to struggle. Just to let you know.
I don't think so. This is a fairly easy question, but
Okay.
the last one is very interesting to me.
Okay.
So you're going to have one answer, but 5 options are going to go in the answer. So technically you could have 5 answers, okay?
Okay.
All right. So we're talking about, my question is, who are the top 5 teams that are favored to win the college basketball national championship next year? And I had to make it 5 teams because if I make it 1 or 2, you could probably guess it pretty easily.
So do I need to get all 5?
You have to get all 5 for it to be correct.
Okay.
I think that you can get 3 or 4.
Okay, so, favored to win next year. So, one I'm scared to say, but they always have. I guess
you're gonna get 2 right.
Duke.
Sure. Got it. That's
okay.
1.
Kentucky.
That's 2. Guaranteed.
Arizona.
Ooh.
No.
That is not 1.
No.
I'll give you a pass though. Let's get after it again.
Okay.
I'll give you that pass. I'll give you 2 passes. I'll give you 1 more pass. It's pretty tough.
Can we go? Oh gosh.
Now, I don't want to interrupt, but Arizona, that was a good pick because they have a big time recruiting cost coming in.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
it's
that's
not even
what I was
talked
thinking.
about, and
Yeah.
it's like top 5.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm gonna. Virginia.
Virginia's 1. The other 2 are, well, 1 is extremely relevant, been relevant for a long time, historical coach, and the other one was
historical coach.
The last one was
Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Okay.
This last one, you could get. No hints. You could definitely get it, but
it's obscure.
It was
a little bit obscure.
It was a surprise to me, being the 5th best option.
So it's not a. This one has an historical coach too, so it's not that one. I was going to say Syracuse. Don't want to go with that one.
No. This one now. I cannot say that this one now has a historical coach.
Okay. So, dang.
I figured you were going to go like North Carolina or something, but that's not it.
No. Oh my gosh. I'm going to go with Michigan.
Oh my gosh, you nailed it! Yeah. Nice. That was really good.
There we go.
So Michigan's like 12-1 right now.
Yeah.
At the Westgate in Las Vegas.
I can see it. They get talented players. Man.
They do.
They're
Juwan
really
Howard comes in, but I didn't figure you would guess it. They just lost 3 people to the NBA draft.
Yeah.
3 of their top players.
I was thinking about Juwan Howard going there, and I think that's
Right.
a great hire. We'll see how he does, but I think that's a great hire.
He should be big for recruiting. We'll see.
Okay. My second question: most threes in a playoff career, career in playoffs. Most threes.
Oh my gosh.
And it can be
Threes made.
yes, most threes in the playoffs over a career. It can be current or past.
Most threes made in a career.
In the playoffs.
In the playoffs.
Has to be in the playoffs.
All right, so let's cut it down. Let's think about players that have made the playoffs the most often.
It's not.
Goodness, this is tough. This is
Yeah.
really tough. You know, I could.
You're probably gonna. Well, I won't say that because you'll probably get it if I say it. But
I mean, I could very easily say. I could still very comfortably say Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. I'm not going to say that though.
okay.
Most threes. That's tough, and you could have. Let's see.
In the playoffs, most threes.
In the playoffs, most threes made.
Oh yeah.
All right. Gosh.
Yeah.
Tough. I'm still going current. I'm still going to say Steph Curry.
Good guess. That's it. Good
That's
job.
it, man. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll
that's
take it.
I thought you were going to go away from it. I was
Right.
like, oh, I hooked him.
I mean, you're talking career.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So,
and
I'm thinking
he's been in the playoffs.
he's only
yeah,
30
a
years old.
lot.
Is he even 30?
I think he's 30. Might be 30, 31 or something.
So,
yeah.
I mean, that's why I wanted to go against it. I mean,
Yeah.
you're thinking he's got 5 or 6 more years to go.
Yeah, I
And some
thought
people
you were
were-
going to skip over past it.
Some great three-point shooters played until they were 36, 37.
That's
so,
true. Yeah.
nice.
Look at Ray Allen.
Okay. Exactly, yeah. Well, he was the one that was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah,
I'll say.
yeah. All right, on you. Question, I guess, what, 2 or 3 for you?
All right, so here's my petty one.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
you ready?
I'm ready.
All right,
I'm
so
ready.
we talked about youth league. We talked about high school sports, blah, blah, blah. We
God.
competed against each other a lot.
Yeah.
My question, and I expect a return petty question, okay? Who dominated, all right? And I have to say,
I know
I have
you
to
do. I know you do.
okay, the reason I'm asking this question, all right, can I tell the backstory?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have time to do that?
Yeah.
All right, senior trip,
Can't wait for it.
2009, all
Yeah.
right? I go on senior trip with Jacob Jarrett specifically.
Yes.
Pillow. He's like my
Right,
best friend.
right.
One of my best friends. So anyway, all of our friends went on senior trip, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. But a lot of people from Chesapeake went on senior trip too, obviously where you went to school.
Yeah.
And we hung out with them more so than the people that went to our school.
Yeah.
And I remember Jared Cornwell, shout out Jared. I know you're going to be listening to this. It's hilarious. He, for some reason, I don't know what happened, but I remember this. And we were just like talking about this and that. And high
He gets
school
very
sports.
passionate.
He does. And he was
yeah.
upset. And I actually felt horrible about it. And
Yeah.
Jared, I still feel bad about it. I'm sorry.
He gets very passionate.
We were playing you guys, all right?
Yeah.
We were playing you guys in football, which you're a football player too.
Right, right.
We're playing you guys in football at South Point, downpour, senior year.
Yep.
And we beat you guys like 50-6.
Yeah.
Domination, bad.
Yep.
I remember, I was a quarterback. I remember stepping up under center and telling Jared, I looked at him, and I said, Jared. And he looked at me like
Yeah.
I was just like, would you know I had to talk a little junk every
Yeah,
once in a while?
oh, yeah.
So
I
I
know
looked at
you.
him and was like, hey Jared, like just kind of like joking, and I thought like I thought he was gonna take it lightly. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? We're friends, whatever. And I was like, we're literally running right here where you are, right? So and we're on like our own 30. We run 32 trap, which you know what that is.
Yeah,
And we
go-to.
raced it. We raced at the end zone for 70 yards, and I told it straight up.
Right through his gap.
Yeah, right there where you're at.
Yeah.
And on senior trip, he put his arm around me and was like, man, I was really hurt by what you did. And I was like, are you serious? No, you're not.
He will never
So,
let that go. No,
Man, I
seriously,
apologize.
never.
I apologize that day. You know what I mean? I apologize, and
Shout
I'm
out to Jared.
apologizing again. Shout out Jared. I'm always gonna call you Snaps because that was the first time I met you is when we played cards and you said your name was Snaps. So
It's
I'm gonna
funny
call you
that
Snaps.
your apology is still sort of shit talking.
My bad. Yeah. Well, see, that's how.
That's awesome. That's you.
That's
though.
how I'm
I
set
love
up. You guys know
Yeah.
me, so it's all in good fun. I promise.
Yeah.
But my question is this:
Okay.
Who won the Ohio Valley Conference Championship in football our senior year?
In football in 09.
And it's like,
I mean,
I say that it was extra petty because we did beat you guys, and I know one's coming back at me because I figured it would because you guys smashed us in basketball.
I don't exactly. So I don't have a per se question, but I will go ahead and get my little shot in there after your your question.
Okay, well the question is who won the OVC championship in football our senior year, and it's sort of a trick question.
Well, split.
It was a split. It was a split. Mm-hmm.
So gosh, so I guess
you don't see it too often.
Well, I'm gonna South Point. I guess would be one, and then
because I'm throwing shade.
They split it with Colgrove,
and
it was a 3-way split.
And yes, probably this team is probably the most athletic team top to bottom, but they lost to us.
I mean,
in the
I don't want to say it's not Rock Hill. It's not Rock Hill. And I don't know. Again, I don't know if I.
This is back before Ironton was not in the conference. Portsmouth was not in the conference.
That's what I was. Okay, yeah. That's what I was
this
a
team
little
was
confused about.
Speedy.
Oh man. Fairland.
That's what it was.
I guess would be the
You don't see that too often. That's why I asked the question.
Yeah, a 3-way split.
So we beat Fairland. We beat Fairland. Fairland beat Colgrove. Colgrove beat us that year.
So that's it's weird.
Yeah,
it's a weird setup.
So I had to throw the shade in there because for us to win the the championship was the last game of the year we had to beat you guys.
Yeah, and you did handedly.
So all right, now throw the shade back. I'm ready for it.
So before I get my last trivia question out, it's not going to be a trivia question. I just want to remind the listeners who won 13 straight OVC championships in basketball.
Oh my God!
I just want to know what program that was.
You know, I'm going to give a lot of credit. Being much older now and being a coach, I have a lot of respect for coaches and programs that can do that. That's almost impossible.
It was a crazy, and being part of that was a crazy ride, man.
Sure,
it was awesome.
You guys, when I was a freshman, I believe you guys stomped us pretty good. When I was a sophomore, I think we might have split. I think that was like in between, like whenever Norm left. There was like a transition.
Pearson left after going into my sophomore year.
Okay,
then came what was his name? Oh gosh, Ron Reed.
Ron Reed. I don't recall. I don't think I remember.
No disrespect, but awful.
Okay, now you said that on me. Yeah.
So just off. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. He quit. We went and played at St. Joe.
Huntington St. Joe?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was the St. Joe Invitational.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
That was popular.
So after that, the bus ride, he quit which was crazy to me. If you're going to quit, wait till we get back and not have that awkward bus ride home.
Yeah.
But he quit on the bus before the bus ride with all the players. And we had to ride the whole way back with him.
Now the St. Joe Invitational, that was like mid-season, right? That was like a Christmas tournament or
mid-season.
Oh my goodness gracious! Why did I not know that?
Yeah. So whatever. No disrespect, Ron Reed. I'm sure you're doing great things. But. So
I got you throwing shade now, man. I'm a bad influence.
Well, it was tough going from someone like Pearson to.
I know what you mean. And Pearson's had a lot of success where he's at right now. So kudos to him.
And then Cannonball took over, and that I loved playing for Cannonball.
Awesome.
So
Good coach, great guy.
Yeah. So and he just got the most out of you. Quit on the bus ride.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Before we even took off to go back to Chesapeake.
That is insane, man.
Quit, and we had to ride the whole way.
Like how awkward is that?
Awkward, bro.
Thanks a lot, Coach. I appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you too. You know what I mean?
So he
Hope the family's doing well.
Yeah. It was kind of a sad moment, but it was very awkward, and it was like, well, whatever, man.
My goodness.
Because I don't think he ever called a timeout the whole time he was coaching Chesapeake.
That's pretty bad too. Yeah, you got to use him.
The whole time,
like
half the season. Yeah,
I mean, you might as well use
he used one.
Especially if you're losing. Come on now. But I knew it was coming back. I knew the petty stuff was coming back. That's why I had to throw it in there. It's all in good fun.
Right.
Because you guys, my senior year too, you guys got us.
Yeah.
You guys were the 1 seed. I think you were really good.
Well, I remember going against. I think it was our sophomore year, going against having to guard Todd Mayo. Mm-hmm. My God.
That was my junior year. Our junior year.
Yeah. So my God. Dude.
Now that year, year we did win the conference and we went undefeated. Yeah. Sadly, which I hear about it all the time from the people that are in Ironton.
Yeah.
We got upset in the first round of the tournament. Yeah. Well, the sectional final of the tournament by Ironton. So I hear about that story all the time.
Right. I'm sure you do.
But he was a beast. He was really good. Divisional basketball player.
I mean, I can honestly say that. I can honestly say back in the day, I was a above average defender.
Sure, and you were.
And I had a hand in his face as much as I could, and it did not matter.
Didn't matter.
I mean, I think he drained because I remember me and Tyler Shoemaker kind of switched in and out on him, and he torched me for at least 15 straight points,
Right.
and I know he had over 30 that game. So he was just one of the most unstoppable players I've ever guarded in my life.
And I would agree. And I have one hilarious story. I don't know if you think it's funny, but when we were there, I've laughed. I was a very serious basketball player, and I was raised to be serious in practice and to not make jokes and to not laugh and to listen to your coach and blah, blah, blah. The whole shebang, right? I got a short story. We can finalize this thing up. I'm sorry. But I will never forget Gary Norris, our high school basketball coach, exceptional coach, learned so much from him, great mentor, all the stuff. Yeah. Fantastic. I was a junior, and we were in practice, and this is kind of like our team. You know, he would always say, like, you know, you guys have a crappy practice and come out and play really well. Then we'll have a good practice and come out and play really bad. Yeah. But we were always like joking in practice. And when I was a junior, Bo Weed was a senior. And if anybody that knows Bo, he is one unique individual. But he's so funny. But anyway, Coach Norris was going. We were going through a drill. And we were talking about the ball. And the question from Coach Norris was, come on, boys, you got to pay attention. We're talking about help defense. Like, what's the most important thing on the floor at all times? And the answer is the ball. Yeah. Right? Obviously, because whenever the ball moves, we got to move. And that's what everybody wants, the ball.
Pay attention to the ball.
That is just how simple basketball is. And Bo goes, well, he asked the question. He said, all right, guys, so seriously, what's the most important thing on the floor? And Bo goes, Todd? We started cracking up because, like, honestly, like, next to the ball, he's the most important thing on the floor. But I remember, like, our assistant coach, even our assistant coaches who were, like, really strict on us too. Right. They like put their shirt over their face. And it was like one of these things. Laugh. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. But dude, I'll never. I mean,
that's not that you guys didn't have talent. Obviously, I know you were one of the best point guards probably the best point guard I ever played against growing up in my life. But yeah, man, Todd.
We had some good pieces. We were on that team, but he was, oh my gosh, like Bo wasn't wrong. Yeah, it was just funny how he said it, and he said it in such a funny way.
Well, that mid-range jumper that he had, it was just unstoppable. I mean, he just rose up.
And when he put the ball on the floor, like he could stop and go really quick. Yeah. He could pull up and shoot. Yeah. It from my perspective, it kind of sucked how that season ended. I don't think I talked for 3 days.
It was kind of like a letdown, a disappointing thing.
It was, but man, and again, you know, I had to. Going back to my question, I had to throw it in there because we've had some battles, and it's good. It's good to bring that stuff up sometimes, not to like live our glory days, but those things.
Well, sports brings people together, and that
goes back to the first thing we were talking about. I mean, you know, whenever you have a conducive environment to be the best player you can be, you'll relish those moments, and you'll learn a lot of things during sports, and you can take them into your life.
Agreed, man. Yeah,
it makes you just so much of a better person. So
agreed.
It's good to go back and talk about that and have some fun with it. Yeah, you know, I know you got another question. I'm holding you up, man.
No, you're not holding me up at all. I could talk trash about high school sports all day, I guess.
Let's get at it.
Kind of wish Jared and Bo were here right now.
Oh, let's go. That would be awesome. I'm sorry, Jared, again. I didn't mean to be like that, but you know it's coming. You know it's coming.
Yeah. He understands. So my last question, NFL question.
Yes, go.
Most fumbles in an NFL
Adrian Peterson
career. No. What I'll say is it's not a running back. It's actually a quarterback.
Okay, most fumbles. In their entire career.
Entire career.
Okay. Yeah. Most fumbles. Now, is this fumbles lost or just fumbles period?
It should be fumbles, and the way I'm understanding it, it should be fumbles lost. I don't see how it'd be hard to keep track of fumbles.
Saying it's a quarterback. I'm going to.
It's a quarterback. I will tell you, it is a past quarterback, a retired quarterback.
He is a retired quarterback.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you're saying past. I'm going to think that you're not going to go too far back. I'm going to say that I'm guessing this quarterback's going to be from like in the 2000s. I'm guessing. You don't have to tell me. I'm going to say Michael Vick.
He is actually, I think I just saw him on the list, sitting at like tied for 21st.
21st? I wasn't even close.
So that was actually a good guess, but Brett Favre.
Of course.
Was the answer.
Yeah, so he'll throw picks to you and also put the ball on the floor, or put the ball on the ground.
He'll also do that too.
I was trying to think of a running quarterback that possibly, he always carried it very lightly.
Number 2 was Warren Moon.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
He probably ran quite a bit, I would think. Yeah. Sure. So, but yeah, man, that concludes the trivia. But again, I do want to appreciate you for coming on, man. Always great conversation. I'm glad we could record it this time. So.
Oh, for sure. I had a lot of fun. Thanks. I'll be back on as soon as you want me to be.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.